Kemi Badenoch has called Nigel Farage a liar in what is now turning into a war of words which does nothing to assist in the removal of this awful socialist government under Keir Starmer. Hello everyone, this is Andre Walker. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please do subscribe, but more importantly, hit the bell notification icon. It's the best way to absolutely guarantee you get all of my videos as soon as they are released. Look, I'm a Conservative Party member and I voted for Robert Jenrick. Robert Jenrick clearly ran the better campaign. Kemi Badenoch throughout the entire election process, I don't think she's that bad by the way, but throughout the entire election process, she was simply saying that she wouldn't tell anybody what her policies were. She wanted to be elected in first and then she would come up with her policy platform. I don't think that was particularly satisfactory, but I actually think that the reason that the Conservatives voted Kemi in is just because there weren't that many right-wingers left. I think many of them have gone to reform, and I think what's left, and this once again is no criticism of Kemi particularly, those who are left are thinking, we must get a black woman, because they're as diversity driven as the Labour Party. Actually, I think she's a lot more than that. But anyway, membership in the Conservative Party has been declining, and there is a membership ticker on the Reform UK website, and it's ticked up in the last couple of days over 131,800, which is the official figure the Conservative Party gave for its membership when the leadership election that elected Kemi Badenoch came about. And Kemi has accused Farage of lying over it. Now, I think some of the membership claims of Reform UK are a bit funny. When they advertised that the 100,000th member would be able to go out for a pint with Lee Anderson, and then it turned out to be Dame Andrea Jenkins. Yeah, I'm not so sure that we believe necessarily that she was literally the 100,000th member. But the party is clearly massively growing, and it's on a project to improve its grassroots membership. As you know, it's faced a lot of criticism about its constitution and about the fact that Nigel Farage and his mates effectively own the company. That's something that they're hoping to address. And once again, the ticker on the website, it's like when we have government debt calculators and things like that. It's not literally true. It's an estimate of how many members have come in, say, in the last month, and then they just multiply it out. But there are two fundamental points here, aren't there? Point number one, reform is growing. And that is a major problem for the Conservative Party. But point number two, what is this with the Conservatives being obsessed with just attacking reform? At the moment, they are incredibly weak and incredibly small official opposition. They should be attacking Keir Starmer. But actually what they're much more interested in is attacking Nigel Farage. Now look, I'd say that I've been incredibly disappointed by this. I've always been a right-winger and I've always believed in many of the things that Nigel Farage advocates. I never left the Conservative Party because I believed, like Dan Hannan once said, it was the best vehicle to push through conservatism. I don't think that's always been necessarily the view of everyone, and I don't think it's necessarily always been the case. But I don't want to cede ground of the Conservative Party to the Liberal Democrats. But why is it helpful for us all to war against each other? I genuinely think that Kemi Badenoch should be supporting conservatism within the Conservative Party, not pandering to the Liberal Democrats. I remember in this constituency of Windsor, because there is a large Liberal Democrat following Conservative campaign headquarters, we're desperate for us to nominate a socialist in this seat, somebody who was going to be pro-climate change, somebody who was going to be anti-business, somebody who was going to be pro-woke, somebody who was going to be anti-death penalty, all these sorts of things. We didn't do that in Windsor, but that is the direction of travel that they're on. And I have to say to Kemi Badenoch, why are you surprised that Reform UK are doing so well? Look at what happened when Boris Johnson won, what was it, the 2019 general election, whichever one it was. And they absolutely crushed the Labour Party in the Red Wall. That was because people in Northern England wanted to vote for patriotism. They wanted to vote for Brexit. And that's what Boris Johnson was offering them. Well, the minute they got those seats in Northern England, the Conservatives did, the minute they got them, they completely betrayed those voters and walked away from them. and got rid of Boris Johnson. I mean, Boris Johnson, remember, had won the election, and before the end of that parliament, they'd thrown him out and confirmed he'd never be allowed to be a Conservative candidate again. Can you believe that? Oh, and by the way, what did they accuse him of? They accused him of being fined under lockdown, which Rishi Sunak did the same thing, being responsible for the economic problems of the United Kingdom, which Rishi Sunak was more responsible for, and for putting Chris Pincher in as Deputy Chief Whip, which Rishi Sunak was also responsible for. The vacuum in Northern England that was created when suddenly there was a patriotic vote up there for a Conservative Party. Once the Conservative Party had vacated that, once they'd given up on Northern England, once they'd returned to the base in Southern England, there was always going to be a colossal number of people in the north of England who would walk away from the Conservative Party. James Grundy, who was my Member of Parliament in Leigh, or my family's Member of Parliament in Leigh, didn't even bother defending his seat in 2024, simply because he knew it was a complete waste of time. I think the Conservatives came third, but I mean, it wasn't far off one way or the other. And so now what we're going to see is we're going to see a huge surge in reform in Northern England. I personally think what will happen is the Conservative Party will become a Southern Conservative Party. Reform UK will become a Northern Conservative Party. But I have to say to you, lest we forget the story of the Ulster Unionist Party and the Democratic Unionist Party. The Ulster Unionist Party, the old Conservative Party in Northern Ireland, were complacent for decades. And then Paisley comes along with the DUP and completely eradicates them, or virtually completely eradicates them. The leading unionist party is now the DUP. I could see that happening to the Conservatives. And I'll tell you why. Because there's no point in attacking our own people. What you have to do is support genuine conservatism wherever you see it. That is the way forward for this country. I think there's going to be a coalition in the end between the Conservatives and Reform UK, though it will not be electoral pact. What will happen is, after the election, just as the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats were forced in together, I think so, the Conservatives and Reform UK will be forced in together. And I think that that will be a good thing, because there are members of the Conservative Party who still believe in conservatism. I'm one of them. I accept that a large number of them have left, which is the purpose of this whole video. But there are still people there. I know at least half, I will tell you, at least half of the Conservative MPs are Conservatives. Now, that may not, actually, now I say that, that's not a very good statistic, is it? Okay, well, at least we've got rid of a lot of the old duffers, and hopefully we can bring back conservatism to the Conservative Party. As we know, we've got rid of Alan Mabbott. So Alan Mabbotisation, that process by which genuine conservatism is eradicated from the party in favour of data analytics, is starting to disappear. So I say to Kemi, stop slagging off Farage, have a go at Starmer. He's the bigger prize. And actually, a final point is this. If there are 131,800 Conservative Party members and more than that in Reform, isn't that a good thing for the British body politic? Because we have to take back control of this country. Till next time, goodbye.